We've got audio and perfect. Let's take this out of here. Very well, let us begin. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious, sunny, and already very heated day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, today being the 24th day of Adar, Adar is on its way out. This is the last Shabbat of Adar of the year 5994 from creation. Today being March 14th of the year 2026, in which we shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 58. Flowers are beautiful. We thank the Roblero lineage. Can you erase a little bit there on the whiteboard? Well, that's fine. It's perfect. Beautiful. Precious. Right there or there. There, that's fine. Let us begin with the birthdays of all who have had a birthday in the eternal truth. Ofelia Santiago, Mexico. Jorge Eliezer Diaz Quintero, Colombia. Dacier Hernandez, the Dominican Republic. Aaron Antonio Bado Rodriguez, Nicaragua. Rosa Maria Soto Murillo, Costa Rica. Baltasar Anselmo Zoilux, the US of A. To each and every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of all the eternal truth. Many thanks and congratulations for your birthday. We hope that it is the very last one under the government of Babylon. We may have to wait a little bit more, but things start to happen in the time that it's appointed as ending already. So many very happy birthday. It's time to go out and look for the moon. Like I've told you, we'll begin Adar the 2nd. The moon will be visible this Thursday, March 19th at sunset. This Thursday, when the sun goes down and Friday begins, that is where the moon shall be seen. So then Friday, March 20th, is Friday. Next Wednesday, that's Friday, March 20th, Adar the 2nd begins. The second month of Adar, because we're going to have 13 months this year. So then, let me remind you, it's got 30 days, I believe. Let's see, let me tell you. Well, 29 days. It's got 29 days. It'd be great that all of us who believe in the eternal truth and are a part of the eternal truth, we go out and see if we can see the moon. There's no picture. It's not necessary, just your testimony. Either way, if no one sees it, if we can't see it, if the heavens are covered of smoke, if there is storm and no one was able to see the moon, we're gonna switch to the next month either way, because the moon is there. This Friday, Adar the 2nd begins. Very well. I'll remind you during the week. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Elohim, Yahweh, one is. He's one, the Bible is one. There is no more than the interpretation that we can draw from this book. There's no other book that the Creator has left for us as a guide. This is the guide that we have. It is a guide for all undecipherable except for the kings, because Proverbs 25:2 says, "It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, the only one that he left for us. Yet the glory of the king is to search out the word." So then a group of people get to understand what the book says. The rest of the people understand something else. Different things, everyone, no matter what, but they'll understand different things. But the difference is in that there's a group that are kings, and the other group simply is not. It's part of the design of creation. The rest of the people that have not been kings will say in Jeremiah 16:19-21, "Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of tribulation, unto thee shall come the peoples unto the ends of the earth, and shall say, only lies has been the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. only lies. If it is man that makes himself gods, then they're not gods. That is why, behold, I shall make it be known unto you. This time I shall show you the strength of mine arm, and you shall know that my name is Yahweh. Amos 3, 6 through 8. It's been time that we haven't read it. Jerusalem 2001. Doth the horn sound in a city without the people going into distress? Does a disgrace or an evil, as the word says directly in Hebrew, does an evil come upon a city without it having been provoked by Yahweh? This is very important because all of the religious groups believe that Yahweh allows the work of the wicked angel that rebelled against Yahweh, whose name is, according to them, Lucifer, Satan, Babel, the enemy. He is the one that provokes all the damage, and Yahweh either allows him or not. This text does not say that. It says, does an evil come upon a city without it having been provoked by Yahweh? So then the evil that's happening upon Israel, Iran, and all the rest, is this text applied? Does an evil come upon a city without it having been provoked by Yahweh? No. So then every evil that comes to a city was provoked by whom? Yahweh. No, nothing doth the Lord Yahweh do without revealing it or showing or revealing his secret unto his servants the prophets. Which means that at least what Yahweh will do, certain things, because not everything that Yahweh does, certain things he left them written in the book. The book, which no one can understand except the kings. He left it written in the book of the things or the plans that he will execute. The lion roareth, who shall not fear? The Lord Yahweh speaketh, who shall not prophesy? Very well. Malachi 2:17 saith, Ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, and ye say, In what have we wearied him? In that you say that whomever doeth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth. Or else, where is the Elohim of justice? And before that before that question, the answer is, Here I send you the angel of the covenant. That is the Elohim of justice of everything that is shown in the chapter of Malachi that follows. For this chapter 58 of Wisdom and Discipline, I have some questions that I'll answer. First of all, let us begin with the text of the invitation, which says, Proverbs 6:23 in the New Living Translation, For his command is a lamp, and his instruction is a light. The commandment is a lamp, and his instruction is a light. His corrective discipline is the path that leadeth unto life. But the command of whom? Right, if you read it that way, immediately the mind, right, of course, the command of God, the command of Yahweh, the command of the Bible, the Torah, the commandments, his command. Who should be able to understand anything else for his command? Well, today we shall see the command of whom, which is a command of whose. Whose it is a light. Whose is a discipline of whom that leadeth unto life? Well, let us begin with the questions. First question says, many blessings, dear friends. I have 3 questions about tithes that I know that have been answered before, but I'd like to see if we can review them. First of all, is tithe given from money obtained from the sale of a property? Well, yes and no, and it depends. Let's see if we understand me. These are questions about tithes. We should handle tithes. When you sell a property, that you bought it with money that has been tithed, then you tithe only from the part of the earnings. If you earn something, like, for example, let's think that I'm buying a property. To make it easy, the property is worth 10. So then I, with what I earn and obtain, I tithe that money in what I have left, which is ours. We pay for the house, the quota, and all that with the money that has been tithed. So then we have to pay for the house. Then I want to sell it. Let's give an example. Because he says, whether if I sell one, so then I sell it in 10, what I paid for. So then you don't have to pay tithes because there's no earnings. There's no gain. It's not that if I sell the house, I have to pay tithes again. There's no earning. That money has already been tithed. There is no difference of acquiring that to me. Now, if the house that I paid 10 with money that has been tithed, and I sell it in 20, then those 20 is an earning, is as if I had earned those 10 in difference. I paid 10 in 10 difference, that difference of money, it's like an earning to me because I gained. That is how you take as what you can tithe, the difference that you earn. So then, that is what you can tithe from a house. Only if you bought it with money that has been tithed, that money you don't tithe it. If it was bought with money non-tithed, then it wouldn't be a bad idea to tithe the house. 2, if we earn a prize, no matter what it is, of money, a house, a car, whatever, do you tithe from that price according to the value? Absolutely. To earn a prize or to work for something and earn it, same thing. It's exactly the same thing. When you earn a prize, it's like you had an earning. So then, out of that prize, you tithe. Third question. If we obtain an inheritance, no matter what it is, of money, a house, a vehicle, whatever, do you tithe from that inheritance according to its value? Absolutely, the same thing. An inheritance, a prize, or the money that you earn regularly is where you tithe from. Absolutely, of course. Thank you for everything you transmit to us every Shabbat. Blessings to all four. Semper Fi. So then that has already been answered. Only the things that where you do not obtain. So then things that have obtained with money that has been tithed and you sell it, that's fine. The rest you have to ask yourselves: am I earning something? Then not just what I work, but it's an earning. For example, I have sheep, and the earning is my sheep reproduce themselves. Now I have 20. Out of how many sheep do I have to give out of the new ones that were born? You understand that? And if I take their wool and I sell it from what I earn, the earning, just the earnings, you tithe from the earnings. Whether it's a prize, a job, an inheritance, it is where you tithe from. Very well. Same thing with smaller things. If I buy a car, evidently I'm buying it with the money that has been tithed. If I sell the car, for example, you sell it cheaper because it's odd that you can sell a car for more money. If you sell it for more money, that gain margin, that is what you tithe from. Simple as that. Very well, too. Second question. This question I've answered before, but they told me that they would like for me to share it with you to remind you of this. You already know this already. Either way, if there's new people. Greetings, Christian and Lineage. My question is: many years ago, you gave us a clear representation of Isaiah 9:14, and then also chapter 6, 8 through 12, and Revelation 12:4. Could you please give us once again a short explanation about these texts? I'll tell you, especially for the new members that are entering into our group, many thanks for the beautiful time and hard work. Greetings for you, Leslie, Angelina, and Brian Semper Fi. Those three texts that you tell me, two are very much related with them. It's got some related, but I'll read them either way. The first one they mention is Isaiah 9:14 through 16. He said 9:14, right, 9:14 through 16. And Yahweh shall cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rush in one day. The ancient and honorable, he is the head, and the prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. Well, this text that it's talking about a punishment and destruction against Israel. Yahweh was saying that those who rule, precisely the ancient, the honorable, the rich ones, the rulers, they're the head of what he'll cut off, and the prophet that teacheth lies is the tail. So then, in this figure or parable that Isaiah is presenting, it means that the rulers, the way of in which the people are deceived is through these things. The prophet, the ancient of all these lies and deceit, the rulers, the rich are the head of this. And the prophets that teach lies is the tail. The prophet that teacheth lies is the tail. Which are the prophet that teacheth lies? It's all of them. Those are the Bible too. It's all lies. That's the reality. So let's see it as it is. So then the prophets are the lies. It is the lie. It's all a lie. The Bible also, the religion that Yahweh made them practice, it was a great lie. The sacrifices were a lie. It was all a lie. The forms were a lie. It was all a lie. Who taught that lie? The prophets. Aside from the liars who would lie without Yahweh having sent them. We have those two. We have the liars that work for Yahweh and the liars that don't work for Yahweh. Because they all work for Yahweh. Because everything serves him for confusion, but the false ones and the true ones are all lies, either way. Because if the Bible is concealed, that means that there are lies. You can't turn the page. If the Bible is concealed, it's because it is covered with lies. That's what it is. It's not that it's telling you the truth. It's telling you a lie, and you have to discover. If you have a special measuring rod to discover, you can discover the hints that take you to the truth. But the Bible is concealed, covered with lies. That's why the text is very clear. Only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. This is part of the inheritance of our fathers. Our main father, creator, is God. So then what is it? Only lies. It's not that only lies our real fathers told us. No. Our father, creator also. And this Bible is a lie. And the prophets are a lie. It's a lie. It's all a lie. Now, there is a truth that is concealed in all those lies, and only the kings can access to it. But in this example, in this parable, in this metaphor, the head of this animal, let's suppose, is the government, the rich. And the tail of the animal is the prophets. Now let us read Isaiah 6, 8 through 13, which doesn't have much to do with this, but we'll read it anyway. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and whom will go for us? Then said I, Here am I, send me, saith Isaiah. I want to lie to this people. He didn't say it that way. It's evident of what the text says. Without he knowing, he was going to have to lie. Here am I, send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. He's lying. So that if they hear well and don't understand it, because he's saying something that is not true. Because they hear him well and they don't understand him. Why? Because he's deceiving them. There's no other way. If you listen well and a truth is true, you would have to understand it. Why did the people of Israel not understand it? Because it was a lie. Maybe it's difficult for you to understand this, but it's very easy. Hear well and do not understand this. Listen to what I'm about to say. That's where the lies come from. He needed to also say, hear well and understand not the truth. The truth. And see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart, here it is. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. How do you achieve that? By deceiving them. How does the white robe priest do it? By deceiving it. And I said, How long? How long this brutal lie? How long? And he answered, Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And the Lord have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. But yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return and shall be eaten as a teal tree and as an oak, whose substance is in them when they are cast their leaves. So the holy seed shall be a sustenance thereof. So he's saying, who is the holy seed? There is a reference that there will be something that will remain. That which will remain has to be the Messiah. It's not a special remnant. No, no, no. It is the Messiah that will remain. It is a group of people that were not deceived. That were not deceived. And so then who is the tail? The prophets. Isaiah is one of them. Because he had to preach to the people for them to not understand, for them to become stupid, to become blind, so that their heart become fat. How do you achieve that? By lying to them. Lying to them. It is very simple. It is very simple if you understand it. So then there is how the relation is with this text, that this is effectively like how the prophets are the lie. Now let us go to Revelation 12, 3-5, which says, And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads, where am I? And 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. In his tail, here it is. We know that the tail is the lie that the prophets use. It represents that tail, represents the lie that the prophets of God use. I want to highlight this. The tail is the lies that the prophets of God use. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth, which means that with the lies, you take a third, at least a third of a group, an X group, which are the stars of heaven. A group. But what is the tail? The tail is the lies of the prophets. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, or to devour her child as soon as it was born. Who is the son? It is the Messiah that is about to be born. And the woman brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was cut up unto God and to his throne. So then she has a son. This woman, what is it? It represents a religious group. She has a son, and that son is not taken by the tail of the dragon and devoured. The dragon is Yahweh. The tail are his prophets. And evidently, in this parable metaphor, which the whole world cannot understand, because the whole world, that dragon, or it's either Satan or Imperial Rome, depending on what church you follow. The Adventist, it is the dragon in this case. It is Imperial Rome that wanted to eat Jesus. That's why they had to go out and hide in Egypt and blah, blah, blah. So then for other Christians, no, this dragon is Satan and whatever you will. But the reality is that none of that is true. None of that is true. The truth is that that woman is precisely part of a religion which bears a child, a new being, a different one. But that being is not touched by the lies of the dragon, nor is devoured, even if it seems that the dragon wants to devour him, and it's just an appearance that the dragon wants to eat him. Oh, then it's nothing. I thought it was... No, it's nothing. I thought it was like a fan or something that I had here. Because it's hot. Yeah, it's hot. So then, that is how these two things are related. God rules this world through the rulers he places, which are liars, deceivers, and also the circle is perfectly closed with the tail of the bug. It's all of the religions that lies, whether they're prophets, whether they exercise some sort of religious office, and those prophets deceive the world. So then, when a man-child is born, which is the Messiah, He is not deceived by that tale, nor is he devoured by Yahweh. It is a new being that is born of a religion, but it's a new being. That is all that has to do with these texts. There's a lot more, but it's a short summation. Okay, third question. Hello, Christian, please. Could you give us a sneak peek about the feasts of Pesach? 1,000 thank yous. I asked him what he meant by a sneak peek, if it was an explanation of the dates or Pesach. I didn't know where the question was going. Where the sneak peek are the dates, or here's the dates. The month of Aviv, or Nisan, the first month of the year 5995, which we have one more month of Adar 2, and we go into the new year, will begin. The new year will be, we'll see the moon on Shabbat, the 18th of April, Shabbat. The 18th of April, we shall see the moon, and once we see the moon, even if we don't see it, but let's suppose when we see the moon, it becomes, we go into Sunday, because the sun's going down, it becomes the first of Aviv of the year 5995. Write this down. April 18th, at sunset, we shall see the moon. The month begins and the new year begins on Sunday, April 19th. Pesach, which is the 14th of Aviv, will be precisely a Shabbat. So then this year, we shall take the Pesach dinner, like we do with lots of leaven, not without leaven, but with lots of leaven, because we do it entirely different than what Yahweh programmed in lives for the people. Pesach will be this of next year, it'll be Shabbat, May the 2nd. Write it down, Shabbat, May 2nd, it'll be Pesach. So then it'll be Shabbat, and it'll be Pesach. And the feasts of the 7 days, or 8, however which way you want to count, of Matzah, which is from the 15th through the 21st, beginning on the 14th, but from the 15th through the 21st, the first day of Matzah, which is Shabbat, for us, it is a day of rest, the Shabbat. It is Sunday, the 3rd of May. Sunday, 3rd of May. So then, you know that Pesach comes along, and then the first day is the first day of unleavened bread, but for us is leavened bread. It is Sunday, May 3rd, and then Bikurim is the same day, because it's the Sunday that is between the 7 days. So then Saturday is Pesach, and Sunday it'll be first day of Matzah, which is a festivity, and Bikurim, a dual Shabbat, first day of Matzah and Bikurim. So there you have the feasts. This ends on the 21st of Aviv, the last day of unleavened bread, which we don't eat them unleavened. That's why it's the special festivity for us. I've given you the dates. It begins Sunday, April 19th, Pesach, which is the 14th of Aviv, is Shabbat, May 2nd, first day of Matzah, and Bikurim is Sunday, May 3rd. And afterwards, the one that I didn't write here, Shavuot, which is 50 days later. I don't have the exact date now, but it's a Sunday. Obviously, like always, a Sunday. Can't remember if it was the 9th. Can't remember. I don't have it here. I'll give it to you later. But you already have the dates of the next group of feasts. Question number 4, which is my own question. This is my question. It's a question. It's to comment something about this. But before that, I forgot to speak about Boca. Boca, what a disaster, Boca. The one who watched the game last Wednesday, Boca 1, San Lorenzo 1. Wow. It's not that Boca played so bad. They played give or take okay, but we should have beaten them. But the game was so horrible that we could have lost also perfectly well. We could have won, we could have lost, and we had to beat San Lorenzo. But since we don't have a manager, we don't have a coach. We don't know how to get organized. So it was 1-1. Now tomorrow we play, and tomorrow we play against Unión de Santa Fe in the field of Unión de Santa Fe. They are playing very well lately. No one has beaten them in their stadium. That is where we're gonna end up. So then it's very difficult. Look, very difficult. Absolutely difficult. Tomorrow we play at 6 p.m. my time. 18 hours of my time. Do you understand when I tell you 18 hours immediately? Yes. We use that a lot in Argentina. Whatever that is, TV, radio, they're never going to say 6 p.m. They say 18 hours, 20 hours. They're never going to, excuse me? At 15, they're never going to say at 3 p.m. No, no, no. They're always going to say in military time. So 18 my time, Boca, in other words, we are visiting in Unión de Santa Fe. They have a very good team in Unión has. Let's see what happens. I want the Boca. Let's go Boca. I hope that it'd be very great for us to win since we've been giving away so many points. How many games already have we not won in our own stadium? A disaster. The Boca world is very revolutionized because Riquelme presented a project of widening, augmentation of the Bombonera, our field. I think it's nothing but smoke. People buy this, that we're going to have a fourth. It's where the levels where the people sit, the first level, second level, third level, he's going to make a fourth level. He's going to create columns that'll be elevators, and that the train will go through the columns in the stadium because the train goes through there, right next to it, stuck to it. So then the columns, which will be the elevators to go to the fourth level, it encloses the railroads. So the train's going to go right through the field. Through the elevators, it's going to be all one piece. So then the stadium, I think it's an absolute insane idea of Riquelme that directs Boca, and I believe that the Argentinian laws will not allow that. It'd be crazy for a train to go through there. Any problem that the train has, imagine if it comes off the rails right there, what it would cause. But I mean, the laws should not allow that. I don't know. That's my idea. That it's nothing but smoke. Since they don't want to do anything, they're waiting for the laws to tell them that you can't do that. And so Riquelme's going to say, you see, I want to do this. They don't allow me to do that. It's all gaslight. I mean, it's all the politics. Filthy politics. I think it's not viable. It's horrible. That should not be done. In my point of view, what should be done, either buy the properties that Boca has not bought for many years and should buy to be able to widen the stadium or make the stadium elsewhere. So blocks from there that there's space, and then for there to be space for 120,000 people, and leave the Bombonera historical. When they want to play some there, they can play there. However, I would love that. I'm not saying that it should be there. No, I'm not saying. I would like to do a new stadium. That's my way of thinking. But oh well, I'm just telling you. My question is this, to reflect upon. Does what's happening right now in the war of the U.S. plus Israel against Iran have any prophetical relevancy? Because even if we don't speak about what's going on, there's a war going on that is ferocious in the Middle East. Either way, I have no true information of anything that's going on there, because I don't believe anything. If you look for the official story, they're going to say we're winning. Trump every day saying we're winning. We don't even know what else to bomb. I could finish it in 1 hour. We've done all our objectives. It's all done. Tell the truth. We are crushing Iran, and they'll surrender at any moment now. And Iran, they're saying they're not doing absolutely anything. They're just killing schools and things like that. But us, they can't even touch us because even if they kill our spiritual leader, we have the sun, and if they kill the sun, we have millions more to put after him. So then let the U.S. come because we are waiting for them, and we have been prepared 40 years for this war. We've been preparing for 40 years to fight this war against the great Satan. So then you go to Israel and they say, oh, yeah, there's been some people that have been hurt here, but they took all the security cameras out. It's prohibited to film anything if there is destruction under great threats of even jail if you upload a video. They don't even want to show you what's going on really in Israel. You can only hear some to see if they're saying the truth or not. So then what I'm going to speak has nothing to do with what actually is going on with certainty because we have no information, period. And the huge chaos of videos and the flood of videos of AI, you can't believe it. You're going to see all kinds of bombing. They seem real, fake. They could be not real. They could be modified. You can't believe anything because AI is now making some videos of bombs, and you don't know what you're watching there. Gaza, Tel Aviv, whatever. You don't know, or a movie. You don't know. So then, and we don't care too much to guide ourselves with what the people said. But I'm going to speak my opinion about what could be happening, and maybe I'm wrong, but since I want to give my opinion, I will. So then, in my point of view, Mr. Trump, President of the U.S., POTUS, he has committed the gravest error that the U.S. has ever done in all of history. A mistake that will sink the U.S. to levels that we cannot imagine. Because, according to prophetically speaking, we are now in the year. How many years has Israel fulfilled in 2028? They will be 80. So then we're in the 78, 2026. Now they're turning, right now they're 70. They're turning 78 right now. They're about to turn 78. And 79 in 2027 and 80 in 2028. Correct. It's about to fulfill 78 years old. And that according to the prophecy, if God is not deceiving us with the scripture, that power cannot live longer than one generation. In a generation, it's 70 years. And between the 70th and the 80th, it says that there are great tribulations. I believe that the great tribulations have already begun way before, but now they are becoming more intensified. So then, looking at this from the prophetic point of view, knowing that the time is shortening way too much because we're in this final point right here, we're about to enter into the year 5995. That power has to fall. And someone had to help for them to fall. They made the mistake of going to deal with in a place that they should not have meddled with. Iran is not an improvised nation. They're a billionaire nation. They're the Medes and the Persians. Iran are the Medes and the Persians. Medo-Persia. What did the Medes and the Persians do in history? The Medes and the Persians are the ones that destroyed Babylon. So then, in the historical plan, the empire of Babylon was destroyed by the Medes and the Persians. In the spiritual plane already, this great Babylon has to be destroyed by someone, and if it's not by the Messiah exactly, it is by a different power. And that power, because in Revelation 17 it says, in the 10 kings went against the whore, and they laid her naked, burned her, and destroyed her. And if in old times in history the real Medes and Persians that destroyed the real Babylon, now it would seem that it again repeats. History repeats itself. If there is a power that can destroy Babylon, it's precisely Iran. Because Iran is not a nation. Trump, who thinks he's very smart and he's not, they're all assassins, people, merciless people, dirty people in every aspect that there's ever been. They thought that they could drop some bombs just like they did in Iraq many years ago in the Desert Storm, or enter into Venezuela like a macho and take the president. And the Iranians are the same thing. Let's get their leader and let's see that the people will turn on them. They want to be freed. And like nothing will just tear them to pieces. And as it turns out, Iran is the people that's most prepared for that type of war. Iran is a very huge terrain of impossible access, not difficult, impossible. Because to take troops at a terrain, an earth terrain, it's impossible. They have no chance. They would have to gather a whole bunch of troops for them to all be slaughtered in the terrain of Iran. So U.S. cannot go into Iran. They can't. They can just bomb. But the Iranian government, who's been prepared, they divided themselves into cells. There's not one sole head that directs everything. There's like 40 different heads. If they liquidate one, they have different automated ones. And they say that the four that direct Iran, they're hidden and they don't even know who they are in the U.S. and the whole entire government that is shown. It's like just a front. But Iran has been prepared for a war of this type because we know that they don't have the technology that the U.S. has, nor the quantity of weapons that the U.S. has. That does not mean that the U.S. can destroy them. Like also, they couldn't defeat them in Vietnam or Afghanistan because those types of wars are not won by being the strongest or the most macho and the most like a bully trying to enter and saying that this is my no, you don't enter, you shall not pass. The ideology of this group of people, the Iranians, they go way past the ideology of the Arab religion because they are not Arabs. They are more than Arabs. They are, like I've already told you, they're the Medes and the Persians. They're not Arabs. They have adopted the Arab religion, but they're not Arabs. It is a country that is absolutely autonomous. They have petroleum, they have water, they have an industry that's almost similar to ours. They are self sustaining and they have codes of conduct that we, when I say we, I have to add myself to the president that we have. We're dirty, traitors. In the midst of, how did this all begin? In the midst of a reunion of a treaty for the nuclear things and the atomic reunions that were in the reunion trying to get to a treaty when they betrayed in the most lowest way that the U.S., without further warning, they went cowardly bombarded while they were still in negotiations. It is absolutely the most betrayal type of betrayal. And with their partner Netanyahu, it is what they are. They are assassins, violators, a whole bunch of things that I don't want to say here because they're going to cut the video. That's the reality. Now, in the propaganda that they show the Americans, we're winning. And as it turns out, we're not winning. Of what I understand, they don't even have a chance to win. Because in the preparation of Iran, they made cheap weapons with their own technology, aided by Russia and China, and they accumulated a whole bunch of drones, missiles, that of course, they costed between $10,000 and $50,000. And they dropped them. And in order to stop one of those, they dropped three between $5 and $6 million of missiles. in order to stop one that cost 10,000. So then they're like, yeah, that's fine. Continue to shoot them. See how many you have. So then they drop one, they 2, 3, 100, 200, 500. There comes a point in which, oh, we have no more missiles that are super expensive and powerful that protect us. And we ran out. And they're already taking away the ones from South Korea that they had gained. That they're asking Zelensky, even the president of Ukraine, they're like, hey, remember the missiles we gave you? Can you give them back? Because we have no more. We ran out. We need them. And what takes place is as follows. In this geopolitical panorama, the U.S., who has invaded the world like an overwhelming empire, they started to place bases in all of the Persian Gulf. And the countries that we know as the rich Arab oil countries, which have always been starving to death countries. All these sheikhs that we see that are ultra billionaires of all these great cities, like where they played the World Cup. What do you call these cities that are super expensive? Dubai. Some years ago, not more than 50, 60 years ago, they were shepherds. So then, these people that are now the most billionaires in the world, actually, they should not be billionaires. They are all assassins placed by Zionism, believe it or not. They started to choose the families just like in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. Like all of them, you got here, we're going to provide everything. Make a kingdom for yourselves. You're the kings, you're everything, and you'll be so rich. But they don't know anything about anything. All they have going for them is oil, and they can do businesses. So then the U.S., and I'm telling you the story in broad strokes. The U.S. went in and said, we'll place everything, give you all the bases, but we want something in exchange. Oil. Oil will always be sold at a dollar price, and that is how the petrodollar was installed. It said, we allow you to have your monarchies, you'll be super powerful. All you have to do is to have sex with all the women that you have, because you don't do anything. Actually, you see those Arabs, and they are actually the most idiotic people that exist in the world, but they're ultra billionaires. Because the money that they make from the dollar, that they get from the petroleum, makes it so. So then they made it in places where there was not even water. They made these plants that draw salt from the sea, and they make drinkable water. Those water plants gave them the possibility of making cities where there shouldn't be a sole city. And through those plants, they got the best architects, and they make those marvelous cities like Dubai, and all these people have flourished, but they were shepherds that actually weren't kings, even nothing. They were just placed there by what I call Zionism of Babylon, so as to only to exercise control, and for the U.S. to have the control of petroleum. So then the U.S. says I created you, I'll protect you. So then they placed all kinds of military bases in every country of theirs, except for one. That one is called Iran, where, when England, which is the same as the U.S., took them over, it's a whole long story that I won't tell you about. They took over them, they had their oil plant, and all of a sudden the Islam revolution came, and they kicked out all the English, and they said Iran is ours. And this whole oil plant that was precisely, I don't know, it was English petroleum, something from the English, and they said now it's called the Iranian petroleum plant. That's it, it's over, and they never again entered there. It was the revolution of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and nobody else entered. And the terrain became unconquerable through Israel, a created nation out of nothing that had never existed. The eighth head of the Revelation 17 prophecy that was created in 1948, all of a sudden, is looked at everyone, dominates everyone. Oh, I heard a cat. It said, is that Matzah? No, it's the other one. No, I thought it's a little yellow cat. Dominates everyone except for one, which is the enemy of Iran. Exactly. Israel's enemy, Iran. Iran. So then, for many years, Iran saw this situation that the U.S. and Israel were placing bases in Dominion. What happened with the first one that wanted? Well, there were many that wanted to rebel. For example, this guy whose name I just forgot because I wasn't prepared to say this. The guy from Omar Gaddafi. Gaddafi said, "You know what? We're not going to sell it in dollars, the oil, but in gold, because we, and what country did Gaddafi had? What a country he had. It was a dream. Everyone could buy houses, they could study. He says, no more dollars here. It'll be with the gold that we have, and then we sell it in dollars. What did the US do? They went and they killed Gaddafi in the most horrible way that you can imagine. And Hillary Clinton says, yeah, we killed Gaddafi, and that's it, it's over. And remember the face and the smile of Hillary Clinton telling the story of what happened there. What did the U.S. do? They destroyed that whole project. Another one that wanted to arise, as they tell us, is Saddam Hussein. That said, we're going to sell it in dollars. I'm saying in a different coin. And the U.S. said, no, sir. It is in the price of the petroleum is in dollars. For what reason? When they stop selling petroleum in dollars, the U.S. as an empire will fall because all of the dollar in the world, the finances, and outside of the U.S., they're involved. When the dollar stops circulating as the official coin of petroleum, which is the lifeblood of this civilization, because oil is the blood of the civilization, at that exact moment, the American empire would fall. Because the dollars go back to the U.S. and nobody wants them. Because the petroleum is handled in a different price and the economy of the U.S. is destroyed. So then for that very reason, that this empire was designed to protect that. To protect the chickens of the golden eggs, which is the petrodollar. That's why they invest so many trillions of dollars in the military of the U.S. Do you think they want to have military because they're the police, because they're good? The police of the world? No, not because they're good. Because it's the lifeblood of the U.S. depends on it to have the military out there. Because with that, they control the petrodollar. With that, they sustain the petrodollar. The worst mistake that the U.S. has made in all of history, which is the tragical error that what Babylon is comes down now, in what I understand, is to have underestimated Iran, like saying, these guys now, we're going to go into Iran and take over Iran. That we need that to complete it because Iran is the only one that is a threat to us. When they go into Iran, it was demonstrated that the whole entire system of defense of the U.S. is obsolete. Because Iran, aside from making obsolete all of the resources, their defense missiles, they're obsolete. They have no more. They are exhausted. They still have any? They're very few. They threw all the garbage, the cheap garbage, to Iran, and now they're casting missiles that are a lot faster. Hypersonic is what they call it. I don't know if it's true or not. I could give a fuck. Now more powerful missiles are being used that they divide when they go into many different heads and they fall and they destroy a disaster. Possibly Israel is being destroyed now, and you don't know, we don't know because we don't see the images, but at a level which we could not even comprehend. But what is being destroyed the most, aside from Israel, that dog shit power, it doesn't exist and it will already be destroyed. It is the military advantage and the petrodollar. Why? Because You have heard, oh, Iran attacked Kuwait at this and that. No, 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 no. They didn't attack Kuwait nor the other cities. They attacked the military bases that are in Dubai, which are of the U.S. And that is where the air strikes would come from that would attack Iran. So then they attacked the military bases of the U.S. in Kuwait, in the different states that I don't even know. I don't give a fuck. But it's not that Iran attacked this country. No, no, they didn't attack the country. They attacked the one that protects that country in that country by being an associate with the U.S. of allowing them to have a military base there. So then those are the points that they attacked, demonstrating that the U.S. is not in position of defending anybody, demonstrating that they don't have a partner and associate that can defend them anymore, demonstrating that it is time for the petrodollar to no longer exist. To top it off, they shut down the channel of Ornus so that they don't go, ships can't go through there and they won't go through. That is why the oil will go up and up and up. That's why Trump doesn't know. He's so desperate that they say, I'm telling you what I've heard. He called even Putin to tell him, how can we end this situation? How can I end this war? Because now the U.S. no longer has control. If the U.S. says, as they're trying to say, oh, we have already bombarded everything, we're going home, they have no more home to go to because Iran said, I don't care if the U.S. wants to leave. Now, the only way of ending this war is that every Arab country to kick out the U.S. from their countries and for Israel to surrender completely to be a part, if it exists, to be part of us and not of the U.S. So now there's no exit. There's no way of saying, we entered into Venezuela, we leave them there, we place the president. No. Because Iran has demonstrated that he destroyed the best bases of the U.S. that are still destroying, that they do what they want, that they cannot be stopped, and now they demand for them to leave. That is why now Trump, the U.S., are between the wall and the sword. Iran said, I'm going to continue to bombard until the U.S. leaves entirely from all of the Persian Gulf. Do you know what that means? That means that the U.S. has ended their empire. Because already the petrodollar no longer exists. Which means that the Arab countries will have to join Iran, and Iran will become the new power. Because, or else they are left destroyed. Did you know that it takes for Iran, and they know it, to destroy their salt plants that these rich countries have? Iran would destroy them whenever he wants. He destroys those plants, and those countries would die. Those cities like Dubai will be so left as deserted as Babylon was left centuries ago, because if there's no water, then they all die. You can't drink petroleum. And if Iran, they clearly know there is a level of desperation that we don't see in the news, but they know. Since the U.S. no longer has the power of defending, the U.S. no longer has the power of defending. And if you understand that, then you understand the desperation of the Arab princes that felt under the umbrella of the protective umbrella of the U.S. and now see that it is a strain and the water's getting through, and who can defend us now? It's only Iran. Iran tells them, now you're my associates, or I destroy you, because you were friends of my enemy. The only thing that the U.S. can do is to break the morale of Iran, and all they can do in a cowardly manner is by bombarding them. Little girl schools, entire cities, and I'm talking of the civil part. but it doesn't hurt Iran at all. Militarily speaking, nothing, zero. They are bombarding the places that supposedly they're going to say that it hurts them, but it doesn't hurt Iran. Do you know why? Because they, aside from the fact of being Medes and the Persians, the mission of their life is to destroy Satan. And now that the war has begun, they will not stop until they destroy Satan. That Satan is Israel and the U.S. And this will not stop. And Trump is desperate looking for the way of escaping right now, and they can't. And so the nuclear threat has begun. That's why he says, whenever I want, in one day, I'll end this war. It says, in fact, in an hour, if I wanted to, I would end it right now. The thing that happens is that those that guide us are so stupid that I think they believe, like they've made them believe that they do have that type of nuclear energy. And I think that they are convinced that for a little bit they're going to say, okay, now I want to wipe them out. That's the only option they had. Look, if I were the U.S. right now with their mentality, if I were guiding the U.S. and I had made that mistake of not losing everything, what I had earned through so many years to lose it, and with that, house of cards falls down. Europe comes, China, and there's you're no one anymore. You're no one anymore. You will not sanction anyone else. And in fact, we want you to take the bases from Japan, that from Korea of the South. You're no one. You have demonstrated that your weapons can defend Iran. In fact, we want to be associates of Iran. In this moment, we're in a time in which it's so prophetic that if someone intelligent were, who is not, is the president of the U.S., and if he had the weapons that he says that he has to save the empire that he built for so many years, it is time to use them. And for not one Iranian to be left. For example, that's what I'm saying. Let's see who has the biggest one. The biggest bomb is what I'm saying. Let's see who's the most macho. For nothing to be left. For them to see, we're going to still do this in petrodollars, and from now, Iran is state number 51. Now we're going to take the radiation, and there's nothing else. Who's going to tell him anything? Who's going to tell him anything? Oh, why did you use those huge bombs? Why the big one? The U.S. going to say they had to. It was life and death. It was them or us. Now's the moment to use them. Now. See, the thing is that they don't exist. And it'll be demonstrated that they do not exist because they never existed. Because we have been deceived that we have these weapons. It's all a lie. A lie. And I think that red-headed clown that guides it so stupid that I think he thinks that they do exist until he gives a command that to use them, and then tell Mr. President they don't exist. What do you mean they don't? Yeah, you remember when one went to the moon in 1969? Now we cannot launch one sole missile of those. It says, but are you fucking with me? No, Mr. President, no, we cannot send it. They don't exist because they don't exist because if they were to exist, you have to drop them now because the U.S. is being destroyed. I tell it to you right now. This is the Ekhad of what we know in this world. The Ekhad. We'll see what happens. If they were to exist next week, they should use them. And for not one of them to be left. Not even the parrot. Like Yahweh would do with Israel, it says kill them all. Even the animals, kill them all. That's why they talk about Malek. Netanyahu talks about Malek. They say Iran is Malek. No. You son of a fucking bitch, Netanyahu. You human garbage. He's not Malek. Iran is not Malek. Iran will destroy you entirely. You filthy rat. Destroy you and all of your companions. Iran is not Malek. But they're incentivizing the people that they're Malek, and the command of Malek is to kill all of them. It is the command that he gave the king Saul, kill them all. Because of leaving the king alive is what caused the kingdom of Saul, because he left that king alive. don't leave one of them alive. And now Netanyahu says Iran is Malek. Why? Because they're preparing the population for absolute elimination. The thing is that they don't exist. What they think they don't exist. They have deceived us because I think that Trump believes that we got to the moon at some point. I'm sure these clowns are stupid, but at a higher level, I think they do believe that we got to the moon. They do believe that the Earth is a globe. They do believe that what was invisible in 2020 does exist. I think they're such idiots, just like your neighbor, such idiots, but they're the ones in charge of that arsenal. And whenever they want to use it, they'll notice that they lied to them. And they'll say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. There's no arsenal, Mr. President. It is just a threat. It's a game. Let's go back to the moon. We never went there. We never went there, you idiot. We never went. We never went. We never had anything. So then, what does this mean? What it means is that this could happen. Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14, 1 through 23. This, I want you to take it with a grain of salt. Like saying, look at the scenery. Possible? Possible. I'm not teaching and saying this is what will happen because God said, no. I read the prophecies. They have different levels of interpretation and application. And it calls my attention. Because we are in the precise moment. In fact, we are sick and tired that Babylon, dog shit Babylon, is still ruling. And I think that this is the most hallucinating thing that we've seen up until now. And what we'll see next week, well, we're going to start to see the fall of Babylon. Isaiah 14, 1 through 23 says, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, that Jacob is not Israel, that Jacob see it as the Messiah right now. It's a very different application at a reading level. And will yet choose Israel. They still have that remnant, that of Israel. Is that what they say? No. It's talking about a very special figure, and will make him rest in his land, and unto him shall join strangers. You see, unto that one, strangers shall be joined to them. Strangers cannot join the Israelites. No, sir. That destruction in Gaza by Israel, it is now the time to pay for it. To pay for it. There are images that Tel Aviv seems like Gaza. Is that true? I already see that it's true. But you know why they cannot? Because the entire acceleration of the destruction would begin. They can't publish it because there's a reason why the images are blocked. Or if nothing would happen, they would say, look, nothing's happening. We intercept anything. Iran no longer exists. They don't show that. They don't show that. The images are prohibited. They have gotten rid of all the cameras from the street so that no one has images. For what reason? Because there's something that they don't want us to see. Because if you were to see it, you would say, oh no, what a disaster. This is Gaza or Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. They don't show it to you. Is it so? I don't know. I wasn't there. But apparently. It says, but this Messiah, which is this Jacob, prophetically speaking, he says, will make him rest in the land, and unto them, because they are multiple Jacob, which is the Messiah, shall strangers join, and they shall join the family of Jacob. That family of Jacob precisely is not Israel, it is the Messiah lineage, and the people, they'll take the peoples unto the house of Israel, shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were exactly. In this language, that it says that this group of people, this Jacob and his family, they will join strangers to them, and then later they will be taken to their land. But what is the land? The entire world. And it says that this group will possess them all like servants and handmaids. Right, it's like citizens. Understanding this language that is concealed, that is. And it says that they will conceal those who conceal them. So then we are captives of Babylon. Now they're going to captive Babylon. The captives, they will be the captives. And they should rule over them that oppress them. Exactly. No, we're the oppressed, like these sons of bitches that I just can't understand these people. And they're Yahweh's minions, either way. But the tortilla turns around. And these that oppressed us are those of whom will rule them, not to punish them and to show them. No, no. The Messiah is something else. If the Messiah takes over them, is to redeem them, which is different. Either way, they're still going to be the Lord's, the Messiah. 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Exactly, not just the men, but God himself. When will he give us rest? In the year 6000, the Shabbat, the 7th millennium. When do we enter into the rest in the 7th millennium? And he says precisely he says, in the day in which Yahweh give thee rest. We know that we rest in the 7th millennium. In the day in which Yahweh give thee rest of your work, of everything that we live on this earth, and of your fear, and the hardship in which you were oppressed, you shall pronounce this proverb against the king of Babylon. We're talking about spiritual Babylon now, and we know that spiritual Babylon is Israel, and their armies is the US of A. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor seized the golden city, seized, precisely. Those that covet the gold, the bank, the economy, the petrodollar, all of that is Babylon. And the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath. Who smote the people in wrath? Who is the aggressor on a permanent basis of destructive wars? Who is it? It is precisely Babylon. He that ruled the nations in anger and persecuted and smote the people with wrath and continual stroke. Now Trump says that he wants to go into Cuba and Greenland, and that says that Canada should be another state of ours, and we're going to continue to conquer the entire world, bomb everything, kill them all. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Right, of course, once we get to the Shabbat, right? Yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down. The people confuse, the Christians confuse that it's talking about Satan, Lucifer. It's not talking about Lucifer. It's talking about Babylon, the king of Babylon. And the king of Babylon symbolizes the power of Babylon. Exactly. Israel, the US, these are the countries that add themselves to them. It says, since thou hast perished, Babylon, hell, no fellers come up against us. Of course, it's a metaphor. Hell, the grave, death, from beneath is moved for thee. To meet thee at thy coming, it stirred up the dead for thee. Even all the chief ones of the earth, it hath raised up all their thrones, all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Talking to Babylon. In this story that's fantastic, it's a parable. It says that the powerful that have existed throughout this whole time of the earth will look at Babylon and saying, you too, the same thing that happened to us happened to you? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. You think that the USA and Israel are pompous people, and Babylon in general is pompous. And the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Here's the word of the famous Lucifer, that Lucifer means the bearer of light. Oh, how art thou fallen, O heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. Who's that Lucifer? Who's the bearer of light? Who was the bearer of light? Israel. He tells him directly, Israel, you are the bearer of light. I placed you as light unto the nations. In other words, I placed you as a light unto the nations. But the Christians can put two and two together. They can't even put the correct information. Who is the bearer of light? It is Israel. And the second bearer of light? The Christians. They said, we're the light of the world. There's a church called the light of the world. So then you also, Christian sons of bitches, just like Israel, going to the same space. You're the ones that are received in the hell. Oh, how art thou fallen, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Who weakened the nation? Who did? Who? Babylon. Who always weakens them economically. Whom do they own the money from? Who makes the laws for them? Who does? These sons of bitches. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. That is a Jewish phrase. Precisely, it says, I will exalt my throne. I will make a throne for God. In the mount of the congregation, I've explained that. It's the north side. The mount of the congregation is the mount of the temple. Talking directly to Israel. Did you know that? The Jewish rabbis, they say yes. It's talking directly about Israel and the worship. It is clear. Except for the Christians, anyone that has two brain cells can understand this. In the sides of the north, north of the temple of Israel. I want to rule the world. I am the Messiah, Israel says. I will rule the world entirely. I just need Haran. And I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. Yet thou, Babylon, shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? Whom does he have prisoners? Everyone with his lies. Who has the NASA in prison? Who deceives the world? We're all prisoners of his lies. He's never opened the doors, nor will he ever open them. He's going straight to the grave. All the kings of the nations, all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house, exactly, even those who have ruled before they have their honor. But Babylon? But thou are cast thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the remnant of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden underfoot. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial. It says you cannot even be equal to the rest of the kings that had glory, honor. You were the most filthy of them all, because thou destroyed your city. Ooh. What does Babylon destroy? Your land. You have killed your people. Tremendous. The seed of the evildoer shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith Yahweh. And it will also make it a possession for the bittern, and pools of water, and it will sweep it with besom of destruction, or missiles of destruction, from around, saith Yahweh of hosts. Could it be applied there? It could be so. It could be right before our eyes, the beginning of the fall of Babylon. Now let's go to Isaiah 13. Let's go back a chapter so that you understand the prophecy against Babylon with these lenses. Prophecy against Babylon. Revealed unto Isaiah the son of Amos. Lift ye up a banner upon a high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commended my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. I want you to understand something. Of course, we've applied this even to us, and everything is valid. But in this case, also it is applied in what I'm applying now. Why? Because we have a spiritual Babylon, and so then that spiritual Babylon, which is real, no, not Babylon by name, the real Babylon, in a way that's enigmatic, that we call it Babylon, but it is a real Babylon, dominates the world, not spiritual, it's physical. So then we need a physical army to destroy it. That's why it says, I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts, muster at the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end heaven, even Yahweh in the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. And the whole land means precisely Babylon. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, terrible of fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and shall destroy the sinners thereof. For the stars of heaven and constellations therefore shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil. So I was talking about Babylon, mind you. This is against Babylon. And the wicked due to their iniquity, and I will cause their arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the gold wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove the blah 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 of his anger. And it shall be as the chaste one row, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn into his own people. Exactly what's happening right now in Israel. Everyone is going to whatever land they can. The Argentinians go back to Argentina, the Uruguayans back to Uruguay, and those that can leave, they go anywhere. Anyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall to the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces. That's tremendous. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. This is the most important of the theme. I arise whom? The Medes. Do an exercise. Who are the Medes right now? And you'll see Iran. Behold, I awaken upon them the Medes, which shall not regard silver or gold. They don't care. They have the war against Satan, they say. They're not going against the money that they... No. No. They go in a religious war against the great Satan. They're not going to want silver or gold, and they shall not delight in it. Their boast also shall dash the young to pieces. They shall have no pity of the fruit of the womb. They shall not spare the children. In Babylon, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, Israel and all of their American associates, shall be as the excellency of the Chaldees shall be as when Sodom and Gomorrah were overthrown by God. How does it say that they have to be left? As Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in before generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch their tent there, nor the shepherds their fold there, but the beasts of the desert shall shed. Oh, it's all a figure. It's all going to be a desert. And the wild beast of the and shall cry their desolate houses. It says dragons, but it's all demons, in other words, and then their palaces. The demons are already living there. It's filled with demons. And the dragons in pleasant and her time is near to come. And owls shall dwell there, and their days shall not be prolonged. So then, Babylon's destruction has been done by the Medes and the Persians, and the Medes and the Persians are Iran. And now, without any provocation, Iran has been attacked, and they said, okay, this is not going to be left this way. Now I'm going to destroy the great Satan. And we'll see what happens. So then, these types of things, it's not that they make me happy or excite me. They excite me greatly so because I see that the prophecies have to be fulfilled. Someone has to destroy the beast. And now, it is kind of like the beast is taking steps back. They also took their plane carriers. They took them away. They said, I'm going to draw away and draw away. It says, you have more missile. I have no more. I have no more. Hey, Zelensky, I need him back from Ukraine. I need more. And I have to make more. It will take me 5 years to make the ones that I need for next month. That's what they say. The factories will need 5 years for what they need for the next week. I have no more. And those that I had in South Korea, even the president of South Korea is saying, hold on, what about our protection? Now we're left with no protection. Says, oh no, I'm sorry. I need these. We have no more. We need them. Because this son of a bitch of these Medes are really making it hard for us. As it turns out, not even those missiles are good enough. They are no good. That's why it calls my attention so much. The news that Trump, with his lying dog shit face that he has, he says, we're winning, we're winning. We can destroy it today if we want to. Try it, Trump, try it, try it. Let's see, try it, let's see how it goes. Let's see if you can. Because I think you're such garbage and such dog shit and so stupid that I think that you believe that you have actual weapons of massive destruction. You're such an idiot, you fucking idiot. You think we went to the moon, you fucking idiot. See, that's what happens. See, that's what happens. And that is what Babylon deserves. To have directors that are absolutely stupid, complete idiots, like the ones that they have, like the ones that Babylon has. God placed them there. God placed them there. So then, now that we're drawing near, it's 2 years away for the year 80 of Israel. And according to the prophecy, in the year 80, it should not exist. We're going to still wait because, tell the truth, I'm not sure if God is so trustworthy. Tell the truth. I don't know. I take it with a grain of salt. Everything I said here, it's with a grain of salt. But what I do see now is something that I've never seen. The U.S. is really being embarrassed. They don't even know how to get out of this and end it. They don't know what to do. They are desperate. And we'll see how this story unfolds. That is my humble opinion about what's going on in the Persian Gulf. In the meantime, gas goes up and up and up and up. Economy falls, falls, falls. And the whole world would look at the U.S. saying, you're dog shit. You told us that you can protect us. You don't protect anyone. Why don't you fuck off? In fact, Putin and China already on Iran's side. India, who was their enemy, they were on the side of the U.S. They're thinking about it. They're thinking about it, saying in the end of it all, these have demonstrated that they cannot. So then let's go with the winner, which is Iran. Let's see what happens. These sons of bitches have to fall. They have to fall. That is my wish. Proverbs. Now let us go to our study. And our study begins with chapter 6. If you haven't given us a like, do so now. Let's see how many. I hope that they do want to censor what I said. I love my government in the U.S. and all the rest. I hope they don't want to censor me. I'm on their side, part of this. We have to drop all those massive ones. And we have to go back to the moon. I'm desperate. I want us to drop that and go back to the moon. And Mars too. We could go to Mars, Venus, any of those places. It'd be great. Uranus, but that one stinks. It doesn't smell too well. Chapter 6 of Proverbs, but whether you like it or not, we're going to read chapter 5. My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. It would seem to be talking about Lucifer. And it is talking about Lucifer and all the religious ones. Her paths are unstable. We don't know them. If you were not to consider the day of light. Now, therefore, my children, hear me and do not run away from the reasons of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of thy house, of her house, lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of strangers. And thou mourn at last when thy flesh and body be consumed, and say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. That's true. Let them drink, but the water and the well is yours. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. As a beloved doe, let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of a man are before the eyes of Yahweh, and he pondereth all his goings. His own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. Proverbs chapter 6. My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Tremendous. And I'll read it to you in a different version, and we'll start to comment. New Living Translation. Proverbs 6, 1 through 2. Did they give us a like? How many likes are there? 175. We can't get to 200. We used to get to 300 before. How's that? 175, one more year, we'll have 75. And that's the way it'll be. It'll be what it'll have to be. Okay, Sarah. Let's see if we have internet. Proverbs chapter 6. But this I'll read in the New Living Translation. My son, if you have put on security for a friend's debt, or agreed to guarantee the debt of a stranger, if you have trapped yourself by your agreement, and are caught by what you said, Follow my advice and save yourself, for you have placed yourself at your friend's mercy. Well, I read way too much here. Well, it was only up until there. It was just up until there. Yes, up until that. Yes, okay, that's right. Just up until there. What does this mean? Well, this, at a normal level of what the text says, Solomon wrote many things which are a cover, per se. I wouldn't say garbage, but I had to say cover, so it doesn't sound too bad. But they're garbage either way, so that they don't have a very deep meaning. But this meaning of this, we'll start with what the text actually says. The text says, do not be surety for thy friend or anyone. Is this true? Is this a wise attitude? And I would say absolutely so. Don't ever go as a surety of something that you're not willing to pay for and that you can pay for. So then if a friend comes along and he says, hey, I want to buy, I don't know, for example, a TV, let's say, or something that is a car, let's say, that is $5,000. $5,000. They're going to finance it for me, but they need a cosigner. So then if there's a cosigner, it means that if my friend doesn't pay, they'll charge me. That is what the cosigner means. I'm not saying that I assure that he will pay. No, if he doesn't pay, I will pay. You understand what it means? If I consider my friend and I appreciate him a lot, and I say, well, let him buy that car. I'll make an idea that I'll pay for it, and I can't pay for it. I can't pay for it. Then I could sign. I could sign because since I have the money to pay for the car, and I want to do a favor for my friend. In this case, I don't care what Solomon says because it's someone that I appreciate. Someone that could it fail? It could fail, but he's my friend. That's why we have friends. But if it fails, it's going to affect me a lot. It'll affect me some. It's not that it'll ruin my life. I could pay the $5,000. That's it. It's over. If he doesn't pay, I'll charge him later. He's my friend. Whatever. So then that's fine. In that case, I see it as perfectly well. Now, if a friend comes along and says, "Look, I'm going to buy a house," but he's going to put down. Actually, if you have to pay for it, it would complicate you and it would almost ruin your life. You would have to say no, just like that. No. You can only say yes if it's something that you're willing to pay and you can pay. But if it's something that is a little higher that compromises your whole lineage, you have to say no. No, and that's it. It's over. Generally, you have to always try to say no, except for it to be something very special. And strangers, no type of co-signing. What do you mean? None whatsoever. How are you going to be a co-signer for strangers? I was reading the Jewish comments that before they used to use this. Well, they're not saying here. Sometimes for co-signers of strangers, they say, "Hey, take this money, just sign here." So then there's those types of things also. And the people would get into that and they would lose everything. They ended up being slaves because they get paid. So then, of course, Solomon's advice is don't ever be a co-signer for anyone. That's true. The Christians, they have a guarantee. Somebody signed for them and they believed it. Who's the one that signed for them? Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth is their co-signer. He is their surety. He forgives everything. He pays for everything. No matter what the Christians do, he pays for everything. And they're like, okay, that's fine. We have a cosigner that way. That's what we want. We want a cosigner that way. And actually, they don't have it. It's the saddest thing is that they don't have this. He didn't pay for my debt. No, you have a debt to pay. You did this, and that. But he did forgive me. Yes, that's fine. What you thought. But as it turns out, that Jesus has no power to forgive anything. He no longer exists. So you're going to have to pay for this, and that. Humble here, learn this. Because the whole world wants to have a cosigner. There's no guarantee. In our case, also don't ask anyone to cosign for you. If you can't buy it, don't buy it. Don't compromise a friend. I add these to the words of Solomon. Solomon says, If somebody asks you, to be the surety of the death of a friend, I don't even like the way it's presented, because there are things that Solomon, even if he's so wise, he could have written this 1,000 times better. What should he have written here? My son, don't ever be a co-signer for anyone. In certain cases, it has to be something very small, that it's not so much for you if you have to pay for it, and make it the idea that you will pay for it. With that idea, then go ahead and be a co-signer. But he doesn't present that. He says, if you're already a co-signer, and if you are a co-signer, try to erase your name. Nobody can erase their name. Actually, it's difficult to erase their name, even if you have a friend. If you go and you tell them, "Hey, buddy, I'm your co-signer. Can we delete my name? Take my name off?" You can't. It's not your friend, but the other guy. Do you understand? I have a friend that says, "Hey, be my co-signer to buy something." So then I go and sign. Even if I later tell my friend, "Hey, can you be my co-signer?" No, I can't take you out, take your name off. They have you, not I. It's the other guy. And if I go to the bank and says, "I want to take my name off," no, you signed here. You pay for it. If you want your name, if you pay, then we take your name off. So the advice already is kind of dumb, but let's go ahead and read it and try to draw the best. But I give you my wisdom. Don't be anyone's co-signer. Don't either ask a friend to come and sign for you. If you have that novelty, it'll be a lot easier for you to say no for many reasons. For many reasons. Sometimes, if a friend comes along and says, "Christian, I need for you to be my co-signer," and I accept, and I accept, in something that I can pay for, and my friend fails to pay, you know what happens in 100% of the cases? I destroy the friendship between me and my friend, because if I pay, then we'll never be friends again. Why? I'm not saying it because I think so, because that's the way it is in the human nature. Because my friend will try to avoid me, he won't talk to me. He'll say, "I'll pay for it," later he'll never pay for it. I'll end up very badly and angry, even if I start to pay for it. You get to be upset to pay someone else's debt. So our friendship is broken. And that is what happens also when you co-sign or loan money, because you're not loaning just money, you're loaning your own friendship. So then, what is my advice that I give to you? Don't ever be a co-signer. Don't ever put your name down for someone else. Don't ever do it. Don't do it. And don't ask your friends to do so. If you understand that clearly, if you decide right now, even if I lose this opportunity, I'm not going to compromise my friends or anyone to co-sign for me. Automatically your mind will change, and when they come and ask for you, they'll say, "No, I don't ask people to co-sign, nor do I like to co-sign for anyone. I want to be your friend still. I can't co-sign for you." That's it. It's over. When you sign for them, you compromise your life to that, and that is precisely what wisdom teaches you. Don't be anyone's co-signer. Don't ask them to co-sign for you either. Very well. So then, Solomon says, "My son, if you were surety for thy friend, and thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go." So from the point of view of Solomon, which I question, that when you co-sign for another, you become a co-signer for someone else. What happens is that I felt in the snare of the other. Because if the other does not pay, then I am the one that has to pay. I'll depend from another. If he has an accident and dies, the one that has to pay is me. If he has a sickness and can't work, the one that has to pay is me. And why take that responsibility upon myself? A wise man doesn't do so. He says no. In fact, You need help? Take here. How much you want? $1,000? Here you go. But I will not be a co-signer for you. I'll give it to you with all my heart. I give you money, and if you want, take it like a loan. Whenever you can, give it back to me. If you give it back to me, that's fine, and if not, that's fine too. But I will not sign for you ever, ever, because it's not of a wise man to place my person, my being, and also my lineage for another compromising. No, no, no. I can help you with what I want, with what I got, but not with my co-signing, not with my signature. It says, do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. So then it's saying, you have to come out of there. It is a snare. In the New Living Translation, it says, follow my advice and save yourself, for you have placed yourself at your friend's mercy. That is horrible. When you are placed in thy friend's mercy, it's horrible, because if he doesn't pay, then you pay. Now, swallow your pride. Go and beg to have your name erased. In other versions that I've been reading in Hebrew, it says, and if you even have to insult your friend, insult him. That's what it says. That's what it says. No matter how horrible it has to be, you have to take your name out of there. Well, I say it's too late. It's too late. You can't take your name out of there. That's why the teaching has, Solomon has to start by saying, my son, don't co-sign for anyone. For anyone. That's the way it should be. That's what Solomon should have started this as. This text, this chapter, it's good in certain aspects. In other aspects, not so much. It's not the most impressive chapters of Proverbs. We'll study it either way, but there are teachings that we do have to learn. This one, for example. We do not co-sign for anyone. For anyone. Like, also, we do not ask a friend or someone to be our co-signer. No, we can't. If you can't buy it, then don't buy it. If we act that way, we'll be wise. I'll tell it to you right now. Not just in that aspect. I could take it to other terrains. For example, if we're going to get into a business, someone with me, and since I can't be there, my friend will have everything in his name. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just like that. Don't do that. We're going to buy a house. And since my name can't be there, like a type of business, I'll just put the name of my associate and not mine. Don't do that. Absolutely don't do that. Because evidently you have placed yourself in the mercy of your friend. You should never do that. Ever. I've known personal cases in my own lineage that they have bought houses. They placed them in someone else's name because they had problems, or the wife, or they were going to get divorced, or some motive. And then they took the house from them. They said, no, the house is mine now. Go and complain to Magoya. That would be Satan or Yahweh. Complain with Yahweh. Let's see if he gives you back the house because it's not in your name. Same thing. Then to be so stupid as to be a cosigner. You already know. You do not cosign for anyone. Can you help a person? Help them. But your signature as a warranty, don't. Don't ask people to do that either. And Solomon's so worried over this that he says, give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself. He says, don't even sleep. Once I told you this, you know that you're a cosigner, don't sleep anymore. Escape. Like a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. It says, no, it's a snare that is a lot greater than what you're thinking. Not that you have to escape from that. Now, don't rest, don't sleep. You have to come out of the situation. The thing is that you can't come out. Tell the truth, you can't come out. I understand what Solomon wrote because I read it in the commentary of the rabbis, the lying tale, and they say the following. In different times of Solomon, it was very odd for them to sign on a piece of paper. It was enough with just giving your word or giving your hand. It was so real. Like now we sign with a piece of paper because men had honor before, something that they don't have now. Okay, man has never had honor much, but let's say that he had a little bit more. So now man's word was worth more before. Now it's worthless. Now they promise we're going to do this. The promises say this. They never do anything. They do the contrary. Trump said, I remember what Trump said. He says, I am a man of peace. He said, he expected the Nobel of Peace. He says, I will not make war with Iran. What did he do? If you notice, with the speeches, for them to vote for him, he says, I will not make war with Iran. He says, I will not make wars when we lose money. I don't want war. What did he do? The biggest war we have now. So then you could say, these sons of bitches, shameless, miserable people, they're miserable, filthy rats. Do you think that they're gonna get out of there get away with it cheap? No, the Messiah is not gonna make it cheap for these sons of bitches. They're gonna have to pay for any ridiculous thing they ever did. It's not gonna be my grace be enough for the no. Everything you said, you're gonna be humbled for. Everything. So then, the word of men was worth a lot. Not like now. Now one says, not I, but a person tells a friend, yes, I'll help you. And then when you ask him, he says, oh, no, I can't help you. How many times? Oh, I'll help you. When you ask him, no, I can't. Why did you tell me? No, I can't. Always the word of man is worthless. Nothing, it's worthless. Very few people have a word of saying, I will do it, and they do it. I will do it, and they do it. The rest? No. In that time, according to what I've read, Solomon is referring to that this guarantee is by word of mouth only. It says, if you give him your word, it says, my son, if you have been a surety of a friend of a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. It was all about the word of mouth. Word of mouth. Tremendous. It was just a word. So then, of course, if it were by the words, and Solomon says, go to your friend and says, look, remember we talked about this? I want you to free me from that. And he was bound by words. Maybe the friend says, okay, that's fine. That's it. You don't have to pay for me. And that's it. And you came out of there. If it was by words, you can undo it with words. But only if they give you the authorization. So then if the one that has your word lets your word go. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? You understand? It's kind of like if it were written on paper. But the one that has your word, you gave your word to someone. You gave your word. The one that has your word is the only one that can free you. For them to tell you, okay, I free you. And you're no longer compromised. And that's it. That is what Solomon is saying. So then he starts to say, do not give sleep to your ears, to your eyes, and slumber to thine ears. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. 6. And here we get to a point that I don't like. I understand that there's wisdom here. No, not here. Not at this point. I understand that there is wisdom when we look at nature. Certain wisdom. For me, nature is violent, murderous, depraved, but there are things that do work. So then I can look at nature, but it's not my teacher. I'll tell it to you now. This here, I don't like. For me, this is they're trolling me right here with this. I don't care if Solomon said it. I don't care. Go to the ant. All of a sudden, he says, don't give your word. Don't co-sign. You have to undo that quickly. Don't sleep. And look at the ant. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. How would I look to the ant to be wise? I'll read the next one. Which, having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provided her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. That is what it says about the ant. That in order to be wise, you have to look at the ant. Well, I have many things to say. If Solomon were to tell me this in the face, I would say, why do you say so much stupid shit? Who the fuck considered you to be the wisest man on earth? First of all, the ant is a worker during the period they work, not because they have the will to do so, but by programming. So then, I cannot look at something programmed to say, wow, she does it, I have to do it too. So then to look at the land, oh, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. The comparisons with nature, I don't like. Because if we're going to look at nature, how we should act, first of all, the ant doesn't produce anything, they steal. And you don't believe me? Then plant. First you said, no, they don't steal. They go and look for the leaves. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, of course, that's in nature where it doesn't affect you, but plant something. Like me, they liquidated something. The plantations, plant something, you'll see how they come innocently looking for their food to eat your food. That they didn't plant, they didn't move a finger to produce, but they come to steal. So then what the ants do, even if Solomon comes and tells me, look at the ant, be wise. No, the ants steal. It seems like the U.S. Army. They go and grab the material and back to home. We go into a place, we take everything. That is what the ants do. Because if you tell me that the ants plant, and they say, oh, no, no. We plant. What we're going to harvest. No, they don't plant anything. They go and destroy whatever they can find. If precisely you have lettuces planted, they're going to go and steal your lettuces, these ants, and they could give a fuck. So then I have to grab poison and kill all the ants. They're not so wise because I have to kill them all. I go with the poison, and I make sure that it's a poison that lasts for months so that they don't show up, these fucking bitches. So then Solomon tells me, be wise and look at the ants. And if we look, and we start to look at nature to be wise, so the sexual nature of the cock, we should, the rooster, we should copy them. He says, you men should learn from that. Of the monkeys. What wisdom is there in nature if it's all programming? I understand you're going to say, no, there are marvelous things. It's all programming. Every little bug is a little robot that Yahweh programmed. There's something in nature that you'll never find. And I tell you right now, you'll never find it. It is a very special word, and you'll never find it in any of the bugs that you see, from your dog, your cat, to a serpent, a hippopotamus, a whale, a little sheep, the ants, whatever. What is that word that they don't have? Morale. They don't know what morale is. And we, since we're not animals, we have something within that is called morale that we have to develop. We have it, but little thereof. And in the measure that we relate with other humans and they teach us to not kill each other and how to live in a society without having to have so many problems, we develop a morale. That morale is the one that allows us to live in societies, something that the animals don't have nor can have. They can't have it. So when someone tells me, look at the ants, I'm not going to look at them. They steal, and they don't do anything. And he says that they don't have a police yet, they have a queen. Solomon, you didn't know they have a queen? They have a queen. They all work for the queen. I could also look at the Black Widow, and the Black Widow has sex with her husband and kills him and eats him. We could look at it like that. Hey, girls, you should act like the Black Widow. There's lots of wisdom there. You also like the seahorses. You know about the seahorses? That the woman comes and gets the man pregnant. The male is the one that's pregnant. And that's it. We could look at the seahorse. Does it have anything to do with that? No, it has nothing to do with that. The wolves? No. Why don't you fuck off, Solomon? I'm not going to be looking at the fucking ants to see if I have to work or not. I noticed because I'm an intelligent being that I have to work. So then don't tell me to look at the ants. You should look at the ants. I think that Solomon, wow. These are the covers that you say, wow, what wisdom. No, there's no wisdom here. The 70th version added something else, in case it wasn't clear. In the 70th version, they added something else. That maybe it's not in your Bible, but I'll read it to you anyway. It says, or look at the bee, if it's not clear with the ant, it says, look at the bee, how intelligent she is, and how important it is the work that she does. The honey that she produces, kings and peoples use them for their health. They all look for her and appreciate her. Even though the bee is weak, they respect her for honoring wisdom. What is the wisdom of the bee? I want to know. It's a little bug that is very useful for the ecosystem because they pollinize the flowers they take from here and there and they pollinize. It's a spectacular job they have. And after that, they go to their beehive, they produce honey that is not for us. It's for their queen and their food. We're going to steal it from them. But it's not the bee produces for us. They're not happy to give us the honey. You have to kick them out with smoke. I don't think that if we could read what they think, or we give intelligence, they'd be like, you sons of bitches, we work like fucking bitches for our food, and these sons of bitches come and steal from us. Yeah, just like oil. We steal their oil. So then what do I have to admire of the bees? Oh, yes, I can imagine. The vegans, right? Now the vegans come and say that they suffer for the bees, the lettuces. They should suffer for the lettuces. So what is our conclusion? Nature is the kingdom of the strongest, the survival of the fittest. When any little animal is hungry, they eat the other animal. I have to learn that too. To kill, to eat, the law of the fittest. The properties are of those that can take them and defend them. So then my property, then another one comes because they eat it. Now it's his property. That's the way it is. So then what do I have to learn of the little animals? Let's not fall into these stupid stories for kids. Solomon, we're adults. I don't agree. You know what we could learn from the animals? How certain things are done, but not codes of ethics. They have no ethics. They have no ethics. I've seen a chicken of mine that I brought her up since she was a little chick. I had her some years ago. She had eggs. I make her an incubator with light and all. And we had little chicks. They were brought up. One died on a Saturday that I was working. I don't know, died. And when I go and look, all of the chickens were eating the other chicken. You think that's the ethics of the chickens? One dies, and then we eat it. Then we eat it. I remember some news some years ago that they found a lady that had died in her house, and the chihuahuas were alive. Why? Because they ate her. The dogs ate her. That's it. That's the ethics of the chihuahuas. You die, and I'll eat you. I don't need you because you're too big right now. But if you die, no, they don't reason. So then, Solomon, don't send me to look at nature. We're older for that. Those who are lazy. Not by looking at an ant are they going to learn to be workers. So then Solomon continues to say, a sluggard, how long will thou sleep? He's saying all this based in that you should take your name out of that. I want you to understand this. Yet a little sleep, yet a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travelleth and they want as an armed man. Perfect. I absolutely agree. I don't know why he took him to this point, but he started by saying, "Don't be anyone's cosigner. Don't sleep." And I'm sure that his son, I don't know what he saw. He says, "You're a dog shit, sluggard. If you continue so, then your need will come, and your poverty like an armed man." Exactly, exactly. The lazy have nothing else than to be poor because they don't want to do anything. But poor in spirit, maybe they have money, they have an inheritance, but they're poor in spirit. There's nothing better than producing something. That's why I always tell you, keep active, no matter if we're waiting here for Babylon to fall. I could give a fuck. We're going to work. I say study, work, do what you have to do. Because we're preparing for something greater, we're preparing. We're not waiting. We are preparing ourselves. Part of the preparation is to know how to work with people, study, all those things. And if you are lazy, and if you are procrastinators, you have to go out and work. Go out and work. You have to give us a like, comment. Don't be lazy. You have to comment, give us a like, go and work. Give your tithes, produce, produce, produce. Okay, moving to a different subject here. That subject is over. In this chapter, that subject is over. There's nothing to draw from this subject. Something marvelous, occult, nothing. 12. This one, what time is it? I want to leave you already. We're going to eat today. We're going to eat shukos. Shukos is written how? S-H-S-H-U. Shukos. Shuko is what we're going to eat today. Shukos because it's more than one. It's more than one. Not chukos. Shukos. It's S-H. S-H. Shuk. 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 Shukos. Guatemalan food. Right? Did you steal it from someone? No? Okay. Guatemalan food with meat, chorizo, and you put it on the grill, and chicken chorizo, and chop it up on a piece of bread. And do you have mayonnaise on it? Guacamole? Some chimichurri? Delicious. 12. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth. This is very interesting. So it says that an actual wicked man, a depraved man, is a liar. And yes, the liar is the worst thing there is. You might say, no, the liar's not the worst thing. The violators, the assassins, thieves. That's fine. But all those are liars. The lies, taking out all those grave faults of morale, the lies are something pernicious. We're talking about lies against your neighbor. Against your neighbor. It's something that no one in the eternal truth can have. They should not have under any aspect. Because it's the most froward that exists. Lies. I read this text in the New Living Translation. What are worthless and wicked people like? What are worthless and wicked people like? They are constant liars. That's the way they are. They are constant liars. What are worthless and wicked people like? They are constant liars. Main characteristic, the Spanish DHH. Proverbs 6:12 says, here is a description of worthless and wicked people. They are constant liars. The description of the worthless and wicked people are always telling lies. So then, who guides us? A wicked and worthless person. Despicable. Those are our presidents. And the kings that rule the world. They're despicable. They lie to us and lie to us. Now, who's the most despicable being of them all? The father of lies. Why is he despicable? Because it is the image that he projects to us. If it is the father of lies, then for us, even if he's our creator, and we understand many more things, that it is the role that he plays, that role, that projection of Yahweh towards us is despicable. When he shows us a different face, when he shows us a different face, we'll have a different opinion. But the face that he has showed the world for 6,000 years, to us, it is despicable. If you don't understand that clearly, then you won't be a part of this lineage. When he says, well, that was just a face, that Yahweh is a face, I'm something else. The thing is that my part of the creation, I got dressed up with that. Okay, we can understand it, but that character that presented himself as Yahweh the Creator is despicable. He's the most despicable thing that exists in all this creation, even more than all men put together. Yahweh is most despicable than all despicable men put together. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers, talking about the liars that deceive not just with the words, but also with their signs. We all speak with signs, with hands. We all speak with signs. But the deceiver uses signs to highlight or try to deceive more. It's not that not all who speak with signs are deceivers. Of course not. Of course not. But the deceiver highlights the signs to deceive you. It gives you examples. He winks and it says, yeah, do this. Moves their eyes in a certain way, speaks with the feet, with the fingers. The part of the deceit. I see, what am I thinking about? And I look at the pastors, I look at the preachers, and I see the president speaking like Trump. Wow. The gestures that Trump does, and that's also all lies, and his gestures too. It's all lies. 14. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. In other words, lies all the time. He soweth discord. 15. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. That's a lie. That's a lie. When have you seen that a liar is destroyed suddenly? It's filled with liars. It's a lie. This is a threat that the Jews believe, that if you're a liar, if you're evil, God destroys you. He doesn't destroy you. God is your friend. He helps you and gives you long life because you're a minion of his. If it weren't so, then all these sons of bitches would not be ruling at 80 years old. No. The bad weeds never die. It says, because his calamity shall come suddenly, shall he be broken with remedy. Well, someday it'll come. His calamity will, but it's not because of his lies. Because they would have ended already. The liars should have already fallen. So then the honest people would live and live and live. And the liars quickly gone out of here. It isn't so. You know it isn't so. And here come something that is impressive for me. The best of the chapter. Of the best of this chapter. But you know what? I'll leave it for next Shabbat. 16. These 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yeah, 7 are an abomination to him. It's very good. Well, for me, I'm not saying sensational, but it's the only explanation that I find. And then later we'll speak about the bad woman, that you already understand who that is, and it's easy to decipher. Yes, this is as far as we go today. Psalm 78, 1 through 2, New Living Translation. O my people, hear my teachings. Open thine ears unto what I say, for I will speak in parables, and I will teach you hidden lessons from our past. Text of the invitation we didn't even touch on. So then it'll be the text of next week. because the text of the invitation, we didn't get to the text of the invitation, which reads as follows: My son, pay attention to my wisdom and incline thine ear unto mine intelligence. Not that one, right? That's not the text. That was not the text of the invitation. It's like it, but it wasn't that. The text of the invitation is. Where is it? I lost it. No, it's not lost. Hold on, I'll find it real quick. Proverbs 6:23. Right, we didn't get to 23. For his command, the one that I just read, for his command is a lamp, and his instruction is a light. His discipline that corrects is the path that leads unto life. His corrective discipline is the path that leads unto life. A flower is born every day the sun comes out. Every now and then you hear that voice as of a delicious bread, delicious to sing in the balconies of the mind, along with the cicadas, but in turn a transformer exists, which consumes the best that you have. He throws you back and demands more and more, and there comes a point in which you no longer want to suck at the liberty's breast. You always carry her within the heart. They may corrupt you. You may even forget. But she is always there. To suck at the liberty's breast is to suck at that cistern that you take to your well. Yesterday I had a dream with the hungry, the crazies, those who left, the Iranians, those who are in prison. Today I woke singing this song, which has been written time ago. It is necessary to sing it again one more time. Semper Fi. The destiny is written. The end. Yes, Sophie. The end is inevitable. God, the true God, is Argentinian. Let's go the eternal truth. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew had to achieve, crowned with glory. Let us live, or we swear, with glory to die. I actually wait, expect, and wish for our eyes, for the tumbling down of Babylon to be fulfilled. I believe that it's time for it to begin. I believe that before the whole world, Babylon will start to roll down hill. She'll see it in the next times that follow this. We'll see what happens. We have a time. We still have 6 more years left to enter into the Shabbat. But it is time for the heads to start to roll. Hallelujah to every one of you. Let's go Boca. I hope that we win tomorrow. We'll have that as entertainment, but always remember that we are here to be useful, to instruct ourselves, to learn, because we're preparing ourselves to rule. The Messiah has come, so then the destruction may begin at any time. Hallelujah to every one of you.